Back just in time. Best of 5 TVZ starting off on Lightshade in the bottom right for Kaizi Gaming. He is Innovation. In the top left, as the blue Zerg for DPG, he is Dark. So Dark just really had a tough match versus Time, which a lot of people are gonna hear that and be like, what? Dark trouble against Time? No. Dark must be playing poorly, or Time must be playing out of his mind. The answer is kind of somewhere in the middle, as usual. All things in life, balance and all that. Time is playing very well. Fortunately not good enough to win the last game, but he took Maru to the limit. He took Dark to the limit. I don't think he played Protoss today, but I'm sure he took someone else to the limit. You know, he was playing very well, but Dark also I don't think was playing the best TVZ he possibly could. And is also, maybe amongst many other Zergs, is kind of still figuring out how they want to break those Supreme late game Terrans. Because, you know, it's not new necessarily, but there's always a bit of a trickiness to the way that it comes and goes, the metas flow, and some people are better than others initially, some people are just better than others entirely, right? Some people really get into the style, really work with it, and some other people will always struggle, even though they're generally good players. And Time seems to be really embracing it and doing pretty well with it, so... Did Time play well? Yeah. He did. Did Dark play the best? Maybe not as much. Maybe not as much. Maybe not the same caliber of play that we would have seen from Dark versus TY in the offline format, GSL Super Tournament, but pretty close to it, actually. It was really just a very tight game. But that means that Innovation... If he also is embracing that late game style, if we see Romanticide anyways, if he's embracing the late game style, might actually have a decent shot at defeating Dark with that style. Innovation, having been a pro gamer and a very good pro gamer since his transition over to Starcraft 2. He's also a good brute pro gamer, but we're talking about Starcraft 2. He's been good since the beginning of his transition. He's been through all types of metas, including the late game TVZ of Mass Raven, Mech, Bio, 211, 3CC, Hellbat, Blue Flame Hellbat. He's been through every single meta, right? And some of those do include some Supreme late game. And since Innovation's known for his macro, known for his defense, you would think he's able to do that late game style perhaps even better than Time. I'm very curious to see. I want to see Romanticide in this best of 5, just to answer that question. This whole blurb at the beginning of this game is actually just covered a 3CC versus 3-hatch setup. Dark, perhaps seconds away from throwing down his Roach Warren, usually does throw it down by now. Around now. He's not throwing it down, you guys. Dark not gonna play Roaches. Hey, something different. Choosing not to do so is already a surprise, but then choosing not to do so on Lightshade is a bigger surprise. Innovation has gone for a 3CC build, but then right into a Hellion Banshee follow-up to that, so I think he's very wary of Dark doing what Dark is known to do. Overlord does fall. It's a little unfortunate. He didn't really get that great of a scout either. It's all barracks. That's it. That really is not enough information. Doesn't know if it's a 3rd CC, although I think this Overlord will kind of be able to tell it is. Doesn't know if it was a starport building a Banshee or more barracks being produced for very quick marine production. Thankfully, Dark is the type of Zerg player to throw 2 Overlords across the map instead of just the 1, so the second Overlord is seeing the later supply depots and the amount of Hellions, at least getting that much information. But whether or not he sees the Banshees is no longer about him getting bopped because he tries to do a Roach all-in on this map, and he's like, oh no, it's Banshees. Like, if that were the case, Dark would be quite sad. It's not. He didn't go for Roaches. He goes for cautionary spore crawlers anyways. And as far as like maybe a mental edge, I think maybe Dark has gotten it here. Innovation probably was playing a bit scared to Dark's roach potential, but it's not really there. It isn't there at all. +1 melee is on the way, with Carapace now alongside it. And so the Banshees might feel a little bit useless. If they can get maybe like 10, 12 drones, then they feel pretty happy about themselves. But if Dark's really good, he won't let that happen. You know what? Did anyone guess this? That Dark is actually really good? Banshees being corralled into a place where they can barely escape from. Grab a drone on the transfer to the 4th base. Little, just a bit of a mistake there from Dark. So 4 drones is not exactly what they would want, but they do live. So that's nice. You know, it turns out this game, Innovation could have easily gone for only 2 or 4 Hellions instead of 6. It could have easily gone into faster barracks production instead of the starport. That's what I'm talking about with like the mental edge, the builder edge. But it's not like Dark, I think, was able to really be super fantastically greedy himself. His 4th hatchery coming down about what I would expect it. Upgrades, you know, as a priority over like an Aspire play because he's not going for Aspire. But only just now adding on the Hydralisk upgrade. So Innovation might have been able to get a better... Okay, well, this is really awkward. Better opener is still getting a pretty good start. Although 7 SCVs going down, 8, 9, 10 SCVs going down is not what he wanted to have happen. The Howlings do return, lickety split, and the Medivacs are off on their own, but they will drop into a main base that is so far unprotected. But Dark does see this and responds very, very quickly. 13 SCVs are killed in that run by. Innovation's drop that was maybe supposed to be alongside some Hellbats is now just a drop that has been denied. Doesn't seem like it's going to do very much. Wait, what? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. He didn't realize he didn't have stim until he tried to stim on that Overlord. Oh, I didn't realize he didn't have stim. Did any of you notice that? Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. That's bad. I haven't seen a pro gamer do that in a long time. Last time I saw a pro gamer do this in a macro game where they didn't die because of it was like Gumiho back on the Dream Pool. Like 5 years ago. And he actually ended up winning that game, funnily enough. But that's... Ooh. Ooh. That's bad. Banelings roll in, kill 11 SCVs, and damage many, many more. Innovation is not having the best time right now. He's getting a forced CC, adding on more barracks, and trying to clear up creep without that stim button. Using his Howlings and his Banshees. Yikes. Yikes. More Hydra upgrades. More Ling upgrades. Lurkers on the way alongside a Hive. Ooh, pretty good Widowmine drop getting 11 drones. There's finally some revenge for the earlier run-bys. That's nice. That's nice. A couple Widowmines to the top side as well. Innovation rolling with the punches here. It's like, I guess I can't move out with my main army, so let's just play kind of defensive and just drop everywhere. 3 Widowmines right into a couple of Hydras, though. Whoops, a daisy. Good placement there from Dark. Marauder Slow is on their way, so at least he didn't forget that upgrade for too long. Oh, Lurker, Tunneling Claws, Lurker, what is it called? Lurker Speed Burrow, that's what it's called, trust me. Is on the way, but it looks like he won't need Lurkers to take care of this. Widowmine's actually hurting Innovation as he loses Medivacs, can't pick up to save any of those units, is forced to retreat. But Innovation with a 4th base setting up as a planetary right now has time to recover from that. I think, you know, it's one of those games where you have no choice but to play late game. Now that Stim's done, he can finally try and actually micro, but it's not going so hot. Innovation's on 4 base up against just 5 of his opponent, which really isn't too bad, but the lurker count, the lurker upgrades, all that stuff on the way really makes this scary. Good pick up there. Innovation moving through the middle of the map. Do he still have his Hellions and his Banshees? Nah, just a single Banshee. Yeah, Queen gets found out. The second Queen. Perhaps a third? Look at that. Look what the power of Stim can do. It's a lot of Banelings morphing. Dark sees an opportunity. Innovation. Where is the rest of your army? I know he's got some. Tanks are on siege currently around that planetary. They might want to go ahead and siege up, by the way. You might want to go ahead and siege up, by the way. Okay, well, it's too late now. Lurkers are already on top of a factory, killing that production. Lings on top of the planetary, and the tanks don't even let them get a shot off. Innovation has got some supply somewhere, but I don't see it. Completely blindsided by the aggressive Dark. Finally gets his units all together, gets a concave on top of the Lurkers. We'll take a good fight here. But after losing a 4th base and 23 workers, maybe feeling a bit desperate. He does have an army supply lead, and Dark didn't have as much of a bank as he thought he did, so now is the time to shine for Innovation if he can actually get across the map. Can he, though? Ling run by is going to buy some time. Eventually lose all the Lings, yeah, but at least they'll grab 2 tanks for it. Just kidding, 1 tank. They grab 1 tank. Innovation can still go across the map. He's almost double the supply of his opponent. He's got to make this work. He's got no other chances. No 4th command center's on the way. He's actually going to have 3-3 as he moves across the map as well. A couple of more Lings, not going to find any success. Dark has a lot of creep spread to work with, though, and he has his own upgrades finishing up, so I don't know how this is going to look, but it's Innovation's chance to win this game. It's here, right now. He does get a lot of Banelings with those tank shots and lots of Marauders to soak anything up, trying to jump on top of those Lurkers. Oh my god, he actually has to scan for them, though. You gotta scan and then jump on top of the Lurkers. That's how that goes. Dark's a very, very, very low on Banelings, guys. He's up against 5 tanks as Innovation is rallying everything he's got forward. Innovation with the 9-minute stim, losing his 4th command center, is going to win this game. It is happening. The tanks are firing on their own Marauders, which is a little bit scary, but that is not going to be enough. Dark doesn't have any Banelings. He couldn't really take advantage of his creep spread. Dark is going to lose game 1. I cannot believe it. Yet another game where a crazy late stim actually nets the Terran a win. Are we just getting stim too fast, you guys? Is this a problem? Banelings do connect on the left in a good parasitic bomb, but it's not going to save the day. GG. Innovation. Okay. All right. That's how that works. Amazing. Just imagine being as cool as Innovation. Ay, ay, ay. Game 2 is going to be on Death Aura. Dark, maybe shouldn't have been so aggressive. Can we agree on that? He wasn't quite up to a place where he could just throw away most of his army. Not carelessly exactly, but it was a bit cavalier. So close to it. Innovation with his very chunky army as well. It wasn't the vulnerable Marines where, 2 Banelings kind of kill you 20-30 supply. But this very chunky army was able to go across the map, even on creep spread, and win the game. In the bottom right, now up 1 with that. He is Kaisi Gaming's Innovation. In the top left, kicking himself about that last one, he is the Blue Zerg Dark. Of course, Dark doesn't know that Innovation Stim was late. I mean, maybe he kind of was like a little confused when the medevac dropped it and Stim for any of its drops or pushes, but Innovation didn't really have a lot. You know, Innovation did the drop where it killed an Overlord after being denied in the main, and that's when he realized, oh shit, I don't have Stim. I'm not sure Dark could have run into that. So, yeah, I don't think Dark knows that it was 9-minute Stim. But even without that knowledge, I think Dark was still in a pretty damn good position. He's covering a lot of the map. He was getting up to 5 bases in a good economy. He was starting to build quite the drone count and quite the army type. He was getting all of his upgrades, right? 3-3 was finished at the same time as Innovations. He was getting up to Lurkers. He just wasn't quite there yet. So he had 1 maxed out army, and that was kind of all he had, unless he waited for 2 more minutes. You wait for a minute, 2 more minutes, you're gonna have another army pretty much instantly. If you make a mistake, but he wasn't there yet, so his mistake was using all of his army on top of the planetary, and then not realizing that Innovation actually had quite a fearsome army himself. I mean, even I was like, where the hell is Innovation's army? What is it doing? And I don't know what it was doing. It was like all in the main. Like it was killing a Nidus worm or something, but there weren't any Nidus worms. So Dark probably also was like, oh, I guess I just win? Question mark? And then suddenly the rest of the army comes forward, kills his Lurkers, kills his Banelings and Lings, and he realizes, oh shit, I can't remax. I guess it happens to the best of us. Dark is certainly one of the best Zergs in the world, and it happens to him. You now have the ability to forgive yourself if it happens in your own games. Next time it happens, you just tell yourself, I'm playing like Dark. I overcommitted and I lost, just like Dark did. I'm a true pro gamer. That's what you tell yourself when you nuke your own army. You're like, oh, I just played like Maru. Easy. Easy peasy. Well, that should be, yeah, not real. The burrow's about. Potentially faking out Overlord's speed would be kind of weird. Okay. He finally finds a reason for his 100-100. Does go for speed. That's what we expected. Innovation has the time portrait. Doesn't seem to have a portrait. I don't know. I didn't see. Dark, I would assume, has Dark's portrait. Bunny 3-2 Maru. Huh. That is a bit surprising. Good job, the bunny, though. Maru's gonna have to try in the probably North America server qualifier then. If he even does. I mean, Maru's in a fairly secure place on the EPT points, isn't he? I'd imagine he is. Yeah, he's number 3, so yeah. I don't think he's that upset. Now everyone's gonna think his TVT is terrible. Poor guy. Alright, so Innovation goes for a typical 2-1-1, that is to say without a third CC. This is the, if you will, the basic bitch 2-1-1. What people were doing 4 years ago alongside every day picking up their pumpkin latte and wearing their Uggs. They were doing 2-1-1s off of 2 bases. It was very popular, then it died. Then Beyond was like, what if I do it again? And otherwise, no, not really anyone else was doing it. People were doing variations to sneak into a best of 5. They were doing a Hellbat attack with this. They were doing a 3cc version, obviously. They were doing no stim into battle cruisers, you know? Like, there's... That was happening, but this is very much so what we would expect from 5 years ago, and this player would be Beyond, we wouldn't be surprised. So 16 Marines at 5 minutes, trying to kill an unsuspecting Zerg player who goes, what the hell, why are you doing this? Dark could only be so unsuspecting, though. He saw the 3rd CC timing. He got a glimpse of the medevacs and the Marines. Kind of figure it out from there, right? As soon as there's no Hellions, you pretty much figure it out. And the only question is it 3rd CC or 2 CC, and you got the answer. So there you go. Dark had enough roaches to handle that. Roaches can be a little bit weird against the 2-1-1. They are good against it. I think when played correctly, people say it's good. The only problem with roaches against the 2-1-1 is that because they are so easy to size up, that if you do missplit, a very, very good player like a Beyond the 2-1-1 or like Innovation will capitalize on it. They'll be like, oh, you don't have quite enough roaches, I'm going to slaughter you. So 5 roaches against this, I would say, is not quite enough. 6 might be. Innovation's not even going to tango with it. I mean, he had combat shields, he had medevacs, there were no queens, but I think he was wary of the rest of the army coming forward, so yeah. But once you're over that hump, right? Once you're over the like, oh shit, I missplit now the snowballs and I made a mistake, then it's fine. Then you're great. I know it's whatever. So again, to reiterate what I said earlier, these guys, if they lose here today and they don't qualify through the Korean region, Korean server qualifier, they can play in the other server qualifiers. This just means that the server is bad for Koreans, right? The server is preset, and that the time is also bad for certain countries. So it's very much so not ideal for the Koreans to play in Europe. It's terrible for them to play in Europe. It is kind of okay for them to play in North America. And typically when this stuff happens, North America becomes a Korea 2.0 region. Overseer's pushed back from the main. Innovation has set up to 3 bases after that 2-1-1 pretty well, pretty quickly. Went to double engineering bay. So he's playing into the mid game well enough. Dark, having pushed away the 2-1-1 harassment and really not taking any damage from it, has his 4 bases, 78 workers, already on his way to Hive and a Lurker Den, fearing no really strong mid-game attack. Just kind of not the best thing about the 2-1-1. The 2-1-1 does a little bit of harassment, can sometimes snowball when the Zerg players are really surprised by it. Isn't really overall considered that great of a build anymore. Kind of been figured out if it is the 2-1-1 with nothing else spicy mixed in into the 3cc, no 2-base tank timing. Yeah, it's been kind of figured out and doesn't really have a very powerful mid-game push. You know, like 3cc, double drop, push 2-2. Can be quite scary. The 2-1-1 is just kind of bouncing around killing creep tumors and not much more. Immediate follow-up is not scary to someone who's built up roaches. And of course now is on lurkers, but let's say it could hit before that. Yeah, the roaches would still take care of it. So Innovation is going to be playing 2 more of either... Well, maxed out with 2-2, he might push. That's true. Maxed out, yeah, okay, fine. He might go ahead and try and push, but... Triple drop, trying to clear up creep before that is doing an okay job. It's also scouted, once again, the fungal being available. So he knows to be careful if he goes across the map. Second factory also finally finished, producing 2 tanks at a time. And a 4th command center being floated over as Dark stays pretty conservatively on 4 hatcheries. Someone asking if there is prizing for these qualifiers. Not exactly, but if you qualify, you're already at a certain place in Katowice, which does give you money. So in a way, you get money. There's that maxed out push for 2-2. Around 10 minutes. Gave Dark plenty of time to get his own maxed out army with a decent number of upgrades, about to finish himself as well. A little bit later though, so that's like the scary point. Innovation was able to bully back the creep spread and then put his tanks quite dangerously close to the hatcheries. This is the scary point right now for Dark. His upgrades aren't done, his Vipers aren't quite ready, but he's almost there. Big Ling run by is looking to give some advantages to Dark. Oh my goodness, the AI though. Wow, the AI is terrible. What the hell? Is this Brood War? Hello? That could not have gone worse for Dark. It gave so much time for Innovation to respond. Jeez Louise. Vipers have some energy though and have been abducting into those lurkers. The roaches have mostly been gone though, and the lurkers actually get jumped on. A lot of damage taken by the Marines, however, and the fungal is the real kicker at the end. Almost popping off a good 20 Marines right there. Oh my goodness, Innovation. He saw the lurkers and his eyes got, you know, the pupils dilated and he was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Well, the fungal was actually, I guess, not only was it was scary. It almost popped off all these Marines right here. It also was late, I guess is what you could say. That it was supposed to stop the Marines from jumping on top of the lurkers. But anyways, Dark does lose his third hatchery. He didn't really sacrifice as much as he could have, right? If he had lost his army and lost his hatchery, that's when things get really bad. He lost some army, but mostly he's okay. He's actually even kind of double expanding here. Middle left taken, now top right also being taken. And he still has that very powerful big army. Innovation getting a little too far forward on a creep, forced a last minute siege, so a blinding cloud and a parasitic bomb being absolutely deadly to his army. But hold on here, the bio still holding pretty strong. The Medivacs get back to what they do best, which is healing. And Innovation isn't pushed back as quite as hard as I thought he was going to be. The blinding cloud on top of the tanks really looked quite devastating, but it turned out to be alright, and the parasitic bomb was just shy of killing 3 additional Medivacs. Dark also not moving his lurkers is actually the real scary thing. 2 lurkers, not enough to hold against the rest of this bio, so lurkers and a queen will fall. Not much more than that. Nidus Worm goes up in the main base, and uh-oh, Innovation's not responding. He doesn't realize that he's not figuring it out. Oh my goodness, that's where the lurkers went into. Another Nidus Worm just to make sure, and this is so difficult. This is almost the win button for Dark, it seems. If you can get these lurkers out into that main base. A couple of units pop out of the barracks, however, making these spines of the lurkers really ineffective, and this is actually the best, fastest cleanup I've ever seen of the Nidus Worm in the main. Hello, Innovation. Taking a good supply lead as well. A tank finally falls. His bio starting to fall as well. Vipers coming in. What the hell? Vipers inside of your own... What? The Terran main base? What? How? Dark has... Oh, no! Don't lag out! Oh my god. Is it me? Oh my god, how thank fucking god it's not me, man. This is such the worst timing ever. If I was the players, I'd be saying leave. Like, get the fuck out! Anyways, the Vipers inside of Innovation's main base is not something you would expect to see in a TVZ. Dark has transplanted the battles from his side of the map onto Innovation's not side of the map into his own literal main base. And it has complicated things drastically. Innovation still has an army supply lead, but he needs to actually clear up his production should he hope to win this game. He could take out the Nidus Worm, but he needs to evacuate from the lurkers. He drops on top of the main base. There are spore crawlers up exactly this, though. The spore crawlers plus the lurkers are making the avenues of escape very, very small, and that is going to be every last Medivac dead. Dark static defense was not positioned to stop Medivacs coming in from the right side, but they tried to escape down the left, and that was where Dark was most prepared. Innovation, he was at such a good army supply, just loses 20 of them. 20 at least, floating around over spore crawlers and hydras. But at least he cleans up the main base. It looks like most of his production lived as well. It's to replace add-ons, and eventually he will replace the barracks as well, but at least it's alive. And a tank is positioned to stop the Nidus Worm. He might even get a couple of Vikings specifically to clear up these overlords, because fuck that. Thank you, Jargon1674 for the 6-month resub. Oof, this game. Still pretty close, though. I mean, Dark's taken the 20 supply lead, but Innovation, he's been great about finding these lurkers a little too unprotected. It actually takes a decent number of lurkers to protect themselves from bio. You know, they are quite similar to tanks in that fashion, in that they either need a choke on their side or there needs to be like, you know, 6 of them. And then a concave of bio won't quite cut it. But I guess they're even a little bit worse than tanks in that regard because they're not splash. They are splash, but you know, there's the linear aspect to lurkers because their spines go in one direction. A concave's even more effective against lurkers. You get my point. You get what I'm saying. He's gonna put the Nidus Worm on top of the tank. Oh, you dirty boy! Dirty! No! Stop it, Dark. What does he even have in this Nidus Worm? No, he's not realizing elevations. No, 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 no. Okay. Innovation's like, oh god, really? Come on, man. It's actually just Lings coming out of here, which is a little easier to clean up, but it's because the lurkers are going on top of his third base, and that is a heck of a lot of lurkers. We're talking about 19 lurkers with speed, burrow, with their range, already on top of the command centers, and soon to be on top of the production. Innovation's gonna hole up in his main as long as possible, but it's not very long. Lurkers even reaching that high ground. How does that make sense? I don't know. Oh, we initiated another base race, one where Dark has taken over all means of economy and production. Innovation needs to do the same thing to his opponent. He needs to get on top of these hatcheries. He needs to get on top of the reproduction, the reinforcements. Can he actually do it? 2 hatcheries fall, but 5 lurkers in a line with a bit of a choke on their side means that Innovation can't go very much farther. He also can't really retreat, though. I mean, he's lost orbitals, so he doesn't really have too many scans. He's lost so much army supply against what is so many lurkers. I don't think he can clean this up. Looks like the Vikings took care of the Vipers, also just shy of not dying to a parasitic bomb. Planetary is going to try and hold. A scan has been had. Tanks come back. Lurkers are going to not be able to take on the Planetary, and are forced to scuttle back to the Brethren. This game is tight, but it feels like it's going in Dark's favor. He's got a 5th base about to start mining. As long as he doesn't lose all of his lurkers, right? And he's actually very considerate of that. He's trying to escape. There's a Nidus room to escape to if he really does need to escape. But apparently he just wanted a better choke point to work with. Hmm. 3 more Vipers on the way. Dark, I guess just thinking of abducting these units. Or Blinding Cloud. I mean, Vipers are always useful. There's actually a lot of things you could do with those Vipers. Big Ling run-bys are actually probably the scariest thing, though, when it comes to the army. Planetary could be repaired, but he's not even gonna try. It'd be repaired for like a second, you know? Look at how many supply depots he had to make. He lost so many supply depots. All of his extra minerals have gone in supply depots, you guys. That's insane. And he's about to be supply blocked again. But excellent SimCity, the Lings are really struggling to find damage. I mean, hey, there's that much is going for him. 4 lurkers and a Blinding Cloud. Oh, gosh. Oh, lordy. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Innovation. This was a difficult game. There are so many things to pay attention to for both sides, but Dark's Nidus Worm play is just absolutely brutal. Yeah, I mean, right on top of that tank. You think the tank would, like, look out its, like, side window and be like, hello, there's a Nidus Worm, guys. Come in. But no, it didn't. The last tank falls. I don't think 4 Marauders will win this game for Innovation. He's got more than that, actually, but it's all back here. He's also down to his last few scans. He does tap out. GG, Tark takes game 2. What a game. What a series. A couple of Liberators would have been helpful. He had Vipers, but I didn't actually see that many Hydras. Imagine if 2 Liberators were sieged up towards the end. It's all tied up now as we move on to Romanticide, the map I wanted to see. In the top left, he's Innovation, sending out an SCV. In the bottom right, he is the Blue Zerg. Definitely not billowy. But it was the same guy that lagged out. This is dark. Yeah, I actually really hate when they use the logos mod. Because it just increases the chance of it being fucked up. I guess we'll get rid of everything. Oh, it actually doesn't get rid of the, Oh, okay. Actually, no. Never mind. I take it back. I'm not nearly as upset. Oh, it's like, if it's gonna take away the title, the teams, what's even the point? Well, it did technically take away Dark's team, but he didn't have one to begin with. These Korean players go too fast. Gotta go fast. It's not just a 2 racks, it is a 3 racks. Innovation. He's going to be scouted though. That's unfortunate. Dark might only scout the 2 racks. Innovation knows he's been scouted. But he also can guess his 3rd Rex hasn't been scouted. So there is that.
Your monetary support.
Thank you, Sector Rex, for the $5. Your dedication to Starcraft 2 is commendable. Thank you. Thanks. Seems like Streamlabs is working too again. Drones have been pulled, but this is quite far away. It's actually kind of dangerous for Dark to do. A Marine's already going to pop out. The second one is close behind him, and that is 3 racks, not 2, my dude. So a 3rd Marine is also going to pop out. Yep, 3 Marines are already out. That's where it's maybe not advisable to pull the drones. But, I mean, as long as the bunker doesn't get up, it does make it a bit easier. Keep in mind how much mining has been lost and how much these drones can no longer help out if a bunker were to suddenly pop up. It really shouldn't, though. Really shouldn't. Marines are already on the front lines, though. That SCV did not take much damage, and this is getting a little bit scarier for Dark. He still has so many Marines to deal with, and his drones are so far away, no longer to get back into the natural. They can't go back to mining. That's 8 drones, not mining. The bunker is not going to finish, though. Oh my god, it didn't finish. It didn't finish. The bunker is not going to finish. There's no more SCVs. The Marines cannot tackle the Queen, Lings, and a Spine Crawler without that bunker finishing. Oh my god. I actually thought I was... Well, so much for that. So much for that. Never mind. Innovation was not getting better. I mean, he's still... It's very awkward because these drones are like, what am I supposed to do now? But... Innovation, he's going to pull the SCVs. The Overlord's not going to see this for a little while. He's actually going to see the lacking SCVs in the mineral lines. No, he sees it. He sees it. Second Overlord sees the SCVs. He builds a second Spine Crawler. He was already building one anyways. Figuring out what Innovation was going to do. No late game for us. Innovation completely all in. So close to getting that bunker up. Damn. Alright, I'm not sure this SCV pull is gonna work. It is the last hurrah. It's the last thing you try to do with the 3 racks. Lings do go down. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Transfuse number 1. Is there a second one? There is not. Second transfuse. Second Spine Crawler. That goes down. 3rd Spine Crawler. Are you going to save the day? 3rd Spine Crawler is canceled. More Lings fall. More Marines come in. The last Queens fall as well. And wait a second. Has Innovation actually done it? Oh my god, he has. Innovation wins game 3 with an SCV pull. You god. This series truly delivering. I mean, he scouted it from pretty far away. Romanicide is one of the shorter maps, I guess. It's not the longest one. But I thought a second Spine Crawler would have done it. That's actually what I thought. 2 Spine Crawlers, Lings, and 2 Queens. I thought that was it. Transfuse was the cherry on top. I thought. It was not. He needed both Spine Crawlers working at the same time. He needed more Lings to buy more time. Maybe he should have pulled his own drones. But Dark was probably thinking the same thing I was. Just like, you know, I'll just wait for the Spine Crawler to finish. I'll be fine. He was not fine. In the top right of Pillars of Gold, up a game, he is Innovation. In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, he is Dark. Thank you very much, Roddy, for the raid. And Orbilis Rex for the 9 months. It's a baby boy. Good timing on the raid. It was like watching... Oh wait, what is it? What is it? Alright, it's like watching in Star Wars when like Star Wars Episode 1 when Anakin turns on his pod racer and he's like, "It's working! It's working!" That's what Innovation was like when the third spine crawler fell. And his mama looked on bittersweetly. It's exactly the same scene, exactly to the T. That's not the game I expected or wanted, I guess, on our mana side, but it perhaps it's the one that we needed. That's a saying, right? So far, we've had 2 macro games that were pretty explosive. Innovation barely getting away with game 1 victory. But, you know, not with a 2 or 3 racks. It was a desperate counter after losing his planetary to banelings and lurkers, yet clearing up the army, where Dark was unable to scrap together enough banelings to defend on creep. Doesn't happen too often, but that game 1, Innovation was able to take it. Game 2, Innovation arguably has a pretty good situation going for him. Doesn't scout the third Nidus. Right on top of his tank. Turns to a base race. Game gets really wild. Game ends in Dark's favor. Game 3, Innovation. Probably not supposed to win that game. Overall. Does win that game with the SCV pool. Brilliant stuff. Fantastic best of 5. Wonder what Pillars of Gold could give us. We got Innovation going for a factory. No second gas, so we're gonna have a 3rd CC build. Plop it down, plop it down, plop it down. And we'll see what pops out of the 3rd CC build. How greedy is he going to be? I already commented on the first game. Was it the first game? Yeah, it was. Lightshade. That Innovation could have been greedier. Dark is scary because Dark adds on that Roach Warren and could then add on any amount of roaches. It's hard to scout specifically what he's going to do as the player without the God Vision. So you don't really want to go for just like, oh, he's only going to make 3 roaches and then whatever. Every single game, because he will sometimes all in you. But Innovation could have in the first game. Perhaps he could in here. He's not going to. He's going to play it safe. 3rd CC, Hellions, and Banshees. It's a safe build. Reaper gets in the main and scouts, sees the drone count, sees the gas mining, sees the metabolic boost. Doesn't quite get the full scout into the natural to see the lack of a Roach Warren. Unfortunately, to see the lack of something, you really need to get a very full, complete scout. But there is no Roach Warren. And we know that if Dark's going to grab one, it will be at 330. So he's not going to go for it. We got ourselves Ling Baneling against Hellion Banshee. Again, a situation where Innovation technically could have gotten away with a greedier 3cc build, but I want to play it safe. Dark, once again, a player who sends 2 overlords across the map. Sees the late supply depots. 3cc indicator. Has an overlord over here if he really wanted to get in. He could try, but a Marine is stopping it, so he's going to be lacking the vision of the Banshees, just like the first game. He still made Spore Crawlers, though, and took very little damage from it. He was actually in a very good position, up until he threw away too much of his army and died. So if you can get into a similar position this game, you won't make the same mistake, you'd think. Innovation confidently setting his third on location with his Hellings out in the map. Sometimes, you know, some Zerg players will sneak a couple Lings by. Not Dark, only getting enough to stop 8 Hellings from truly barbecuing his drones. And then not much more than that. Lair finally starts. His 1-1 is already well underway for Zerg. Innovation's only finishing up his engineering base now, so it goes with the build order. 2 Banshees now paired up together, gonna cloak preemptively so that Dark is really the last second scouting. He can't position his queens properly. So it's possible this queen dies, you know? He might have seen the blur, or maybe just coincidental timing, but the Banshee's not gonna find that queen. Gonna find a bit of access in the natural. Sees a Baneley Nest too. That queen got a little ahead of herself. What you doing? What you doing, lady? The lair clearly isn't done, so Innovation can confidently park his Banshees right in the middle of the main and natural. A lot of transfuses, though, so a queen or two might fall. Yeah. Run a bit of your time yourself. Innovation has Cloak disappearing for 1 Banshee and soon to be for the second one. I think it'd be worth saving at least one of these Banshees, yeah. Exactly. As I said, like in the first game, you know, 2 Banshees really aren't that ideal if your opponent's not doing something in the early game. You could have gone to faster XYZ, better economy, better tank production, what have you. If they got 12 drones, might be worth it. They don't. So many Zerg players are so good against defending against Banshees. The fact that they at least caused some kerfuffle, killed a couple of queens, and 1 lives to scout and harass is actually also not too bad. Could have been a lot worse. Innovation is now properly set up to do some dropping, should you desire. Dark's got a 4th base on the way, and he's going right into an infestation pit. So Ling, Baneling, and then all the way up into Hive. I think first game he went Hive with Hydralisk Den. That's what if I recall correctly. Centrifugal Hooks is only about halfway done, but it's not like it's that many Marines. Oh, the Widowmines pop off. Ooh. Ooh. Zerg players not only nowadays looking for splits against the Widowmines, they're also looking to damage the Marines and Medivacs with their split. Gotta be very careful with the Terran. A couple of Banelings try to roll through, but some Hellions soak it up for the SCVs. Doing their duty. Hive is on the way, so as I said, I think we'll see a Hydralisk Den with this. I think. I mean, if you really wanted to have perfect timing on like the Lurker upgrades, it would be Hydralisk Den and then Lurker Den as the Hive started, right? But maybe he's going into Ling Baneling Ultra. Wow. Oh, okay, Innovation paying attention over to the right side. A little too long. Loses 1.5 worth of Medivacs. The Medivacs units. Not what he intended to do. 2-2 on the way. Drilling Claws and a 4th Command Center about to finish. His Innovation continues just harassing left and right, using just 3 Marines to clear up a bit of creep spread. Creep spread is something. Better than nothing. A bit faster to pick up on the right side this time around. And he is going to do one bigger push through the middle of the map where there is still creep spread to be cleaned. Finally, Dark clears up the entire left side drop, can now focus entirely on the push heading his way. I think he knows it's not really the scariest push, but he should still take it seriously. Innovation gets a little too confident. Widowmines are all burrowed together in sight of the Zerg, so easy use of the Banelings there. Easy decision for the Zerg player when that happens. 5th base now here for Dark, as he does head in just pure Ling Baneling Ultra. I mean, Innovation brought out a 2-1-1 in the second game of this series. Third one was a 2 racks, 3 racks. So I guess it makes sense that Dark would also bring down an older build from the closet shelf. Actually feels like it's been a little while, but I mean, some people do this. It's not like it's an antique that only gets dusted off every once in a while, but it's still surprising to see. Innovation might still be a little suspecting of Hydras, more so, or Lurkers, I should say. You know, the ultimate destination for Dark in a lot of these games. But eventually it'll be like, well, there really have not been any Hydras. So, like, what else could this be besides Ling Baneling Ultra? And that point I may have already passed. That run-by is actually better upgraded for Dark than it is for Innovation. So the... Ooh, got... Widowmine almost popped off, but not quite. The run-by doing more damage than Innovation probably expected it to. He's finally going to clear it up thanks to these Widowmines, but it did last a long time. Fortunately, he was paying enough attention to the drop on the front, the push on the front, to pick up and save most of his units while keeping a pretty steady supply. Dark is investing a lot into upgrades right now, so his supplies aren't really indicative of the situation, I feel. He's got upgrades, he's got technology, he does have economy, and he's just waiting on being able to build a big old round of ultras. Dropping the main, grabs the Viper. Scouts the Ultralisk Cavern, not wiggly jiggly yet. But it will be an entirely cleaned up drop as the one medevac flies into the Spore Crawler. If Innovation was going to try and hit a very powerful pre-ultra timing, it's kind of been lost with how many drops he's lost in this game. Widowmines do end up burrowing as there are no Banelings to crash into him, so Dark had a last-second split, but it was good enough, and he's going to pick up and move back home. As I said, Innovation, I don't think really had enough army to threaten what could be ultras popping at any second. And while you don't see the Ultra Cavern wiggly jiggly, doesn't mean that it wasn't wiggly jiggly just a second ago. But I do want to note its lack of wiggly jiggliness. This is actually kind of concerning at this point. Perhaps, yes, you prioritize 3-3, fair enough, but you should also get chitinous plating. These ultras are about to be much worse than usual. And they're already a bit questionable sometimes. 90k, guys. That could be big. That could be as big as Innovation for getting stim for 9 minutes. Well, he still won the game, so... maybe this is big brain strats. He's gonna make Innovation think he's going ultras, but actually go Massling Baneling. Haha, gotcha. Innovation seems to always be a bit later to the response than Dark when it comes to these engagements, so they always look a bit awkward, but... he will- oh god, Widowmines, please. He will continue the push forward. It was very temporary, and he has lost his drop over to the right side. Run by, or counter, whatever you want to call it, is not going to find too much success. Oh, I maybe spoke too soon? Nah, I'm not going to find too much. Well, okay, hold on. Adrenal glands. Oh my goodness, Lings, please. Lings with adrenal glands. Innovation could not cancel that command center fast enough. Hey, he remembered! Yeah, chitinous plating's on the way. I will also delay his ultra speed, but as far as defensive units, where ultras feel better, at their best, they feel best when defending with ultra speed. I mean, hopefully they got transfuses, hopefully they got creep spread, but they do also want their speed boost. And especially when they're trying to be aggressive, when they're trying to capitalize on some good defensive fights, they want that speed boost. That is heavily delayed. And Innovation is still maxed out. I mean, he's been taking what looks to be like... They look like they aren't great trades because he's being stopped in his momentum. But Dark is also losing out every single time. And he's really scrambling to get that great army together with all of their upgrades because he forgot chitinous plating for so long. So, Innovation maxed out, Dark maxed out, but Innovation's the one who actually is banking a little bit more despite losing, sort of getting his 5th base killed. He's gonna have 5th base and a 6th base both on location. Continuing to harass a little bit here and there. Always bringing Widowmines along. Sometimes they get shot, sometimes they don't, but it forces Dark to actually micro and pay attention. Oh, some Liberator harassment. Sometimes just going right up in front of the hatchery is the best way to do it. Spore Crawl is gonna reposition. Innovation too busy microing on this front to actually pay attention. Widowmines splashing back on his own army. Being traitors to Terran kind. Why, Widowmines? Why? Planetary is not quite done, but these ultras will need a bit of support. Maybe not. SCV's not going to repair. They're actually just trying to run on back home. Liberators do not take care of Lings very fast, you guys. Innovation is trying to push back forward on this side of the map. Baneling's going to collide in on mostly Marauders. A last-second split might save some of the bio, but not enough. Innovation is absolutely losing this game. And one fatal sweep here, Innovation has gone from a maxed out army to down to 140 against Dark's maxing out army currently as I speak. It seemed like Innovation was getting a decent enough game. I mean, he wasn't really winning because there wasn't a lot of momentum for him. He wasn't clearing up creep, he wasn't pushing into bases, but it didn't seem like he was losing so drastically, and then all of a sudden, he very much so was losing. The Raiders are going to siege up, but I think he knows it is game over. We are gonna get a game 5. It's happening. GG. Game 5. The last game will be on Oxide. So I'm guessing Dark vetoed Submarine and Innovation vetoed Jagannatha. Makes sense. All side up 2-2. In the bottom left, we have the Red Terran at Kaisi Gaming's Innovation. In the top right, as the blue Zerg, he is Dark. Are we gonna get any shenanigans this game? Innovation, that type of player to risk a game 5 with a 2 racks. Certainly not doing so right now. His 3cc build of last game didn't really work out as well as it could have, again. Similar to my rant in the first game where it's like, well, the Banshees, you know, if they're not actually defending anything, they don't... You wouldn't want to get Banshees just as like a all-encompassing opener. You get them because you think there might be something threatening you, or they might be a surprise, which Banshees haven't really been a surprise enough to Zerg players to get much more than 6 drone kills in a while. It felt like for a second there, for like a month, Zerg players were like, oh, 2 Banshees? Oh no. And they were getting a surprising number of drones killed, but it didn't last very long. And Dark certainly hasn't seemed susceptible to it. He's lost 3 drones, a couple queens last game, true. But... So the thing is that as soon as you say, I don't need to get that, I can go right into 3cc and additional barracks and be totally fine, is the time where Dark actually does build a Roach Warren and builds roaches to all in you. So it's very tricky. Paying attention to the second gas. Dark about to have to deal with some Reaper shenanigans. Also going to be SCV scouted. Innovation playing very safe. I think Dark is going to go for that third hatch, and then we'll see. It's been 50-50 on the Roach Warren at 3:30. Innovation is not grabbing that second gas geyser. Give it another second. Give it another second. Yep, third CC. Third CC build. Reaper has been doing some damage on the other side of the map, not grabbing any kills yet. He wants 2 of them. He wants 3 of them. 3 lings, very low, only gets the 1. Not at all surprised to see Innovation when things get tough, when things get close. Go for a third CC build. But there's always a way to make this a little bit more clever. I mean, he could go for Hanley Banshee again. That's fair enough. He's had some moments that have done well in these macro games. Sure. Although I will say, with the entire best of 5 in mind, it does kind of seem like Innovation's getting, well, a bit lucky when it comes to his victories. The first game was Dark being way overconfident and just throwing away too many resources without actually banking first. And then the other game was the 3 racks, so... I don't know if I'd feel super confident for Innovation doing another Hellion Banshee opener. Unless Dark tries to do a Roach attack that fails. But I don't see why Dark would do that, since he has won the macro games. Well, more so, it feels like. Roach 1 is coming down on Oxide, though. But, you know, will he make the roaches? Will he make a lot of roaches? Doesn't seem like it. More drones coming. Second gas, though. Nah, Lair. Okay. Yep. 100 gas doesn't really make a lot of roaches, and that doesn't really make many Ravagers, so. That's the real busting power. I suppose Dark could have scared Innovation with just 6 roaches coming across the map, but the scare would not have been worth it, since Banshees are in fact being made with Cloak. He's again confidently setting down his third CC on location. As his Hellions are out there scouting, looking specifically for roaches coming across the map, I dare say. Okay, there's the twist. There's the twist. So, a faster armory means that there could be a Hellbat Banshee attack. No, it should be... Wait. No, yeah, okay. I was like... I thought I only made 4 Hellions. I totally miscounted. I'm a little bit tired. Anyways, yeah, Hellbat attack alongside this does complicate matters. I remember talking about this with Time versus Dark, but then Time only did make 4 Hellions, and I was like, what the hell's the point of the armory? What are you doing? This case, it is still relying on your opponent being kind of greedy, not making many units, but because roaches are available, it's not really worthwhile to turn these guys into Hellbats, because they'll buy enough time for more roaches to be made at the very least. The Hellion run by doesn't really work out either. He was hoping to catch Dark, I guess, only depending on Queen Roach, and instead found a decent number of Lings to corral the Hellions enough that the roaches kill them. So that was... This is a very bad start for Innovation right now. I mean, the Hellions don't add too much as the game goes on, but they could have at least been trying to stop this creep spread, while the Banshee stopped this creep spread. And then you get a drive up the middle with a double drop, you know, that's at least some type of harassment. And instead, now it's just the Banshees, which have already been pushed away from the main base. Found no success there. And have so far only found a single creep tumor. Doesn't feel so good for Innovation. At least Innovation's third is on location, so as much as Dark is getting away with going up to 73 drones, he's not quite utilizing it perfectly until his 4th base is done. 6 drones overworked in that 3rd hatch. But 4th base and macro hatchery as he transitions into Baneling Roach. Innovation just going to continue doing what you would expect from this build order, which is probably just go for a couple of drops. I don't think he pushes, though. I don't think you can push in this situation. It just really did not go well. I think you just drop and go for a 4th CC. He does the classic building a 2nd armory, or he canceled the 1st armory. Is that what happened? That's what happened. Canceled the 1st armory. So, I mean, that's like the slightly good news, I guess, but... And to be clear, to give Innovation some credit here, I understand the reason he went for the Hellbats. Because Dark has not been going for Roach. He's actually gone for a couple of Ling openers with fast upgrades and slow Baneling nests. I understand it a lot, actually. It could have been deciding, but not only did Dark coincidentally go for Roaches this game, and that sucked for Innovation's build order plan, it's also Oxide, which, you know, if there was going to be another Roach game from Dark, it probably would have been on this map. So it's just, it's unfortunate. Banshees do deny mining for a hot second as the Spore Crawler finishes up, but 2 Banshees capable of killing drones can't really take on too many Queens. 1 Queen goes down, 1 Banshee lives. Double drop to the left finds a lot of Roach Ravager. This is the point where the Terran player is kind of sizing things up and trying to determine, like, am I going to be attacked anytime soon, or is Dark going to go into an infestation pit? Gonna go into infestors. I just left it there. It does look like Dark will be adding the infestation pit. But, yeah. Oh, he already has one. Oh, there you go. Okay. There you have it. I was like, you know, he could technically hit with 1/1 here, but your +1 melee was like, it's not gonna make the strongest attack possible. Innovation was already kind of set up to deal with the Roach attack anyways. He's got some SimCity just obnoxious enough to stop the corrosive biles from hitting or stop the Lings from jumping on top of the tanks. And he even had a missile turret for tunneling claws, since Dark has shown a couple of games where he's gone pretty fast tunneling claws, so I like that. But it is a hive. It is infestors. It is late game. And whatever kind of sketchy start Innovation had to this game is kind of been mitigated just by letting the game go on for a while, right? No more advantages have been created by Dark, or no more disadvantages have been created by Innovation working against himself. So the game evens out. And a single medevac dies in a drop. That's not such a big deal as they both run 4 bases. Innovation maxing out, getting the 2/2 faster than his opponent. It's finally going to have a push that is actually pretty decent. Double drop to the top side, already being responded to. Dark very quick about moving his spore crawlers, which does complicate drops for Terrans. This Banshee, though, finds a 5th. Hey, way to be useful, gal. Way to go. Ravagers and Lings already jumping on top of this army. Innovation, perhaps not thinking they were serious, was quite late to sieging his tanks. Either he was just simply late because he was microing, which is very possible, or he was like, well, that wasn't a whole lot of units, so you're not going to take it. And he's like, well, what if he does? Tanks are not sieged very quickly this time around. They are going to get obliterated. They're going to get clobbered, and the bio army is forced to retreat. That was not the push Innovation was looking for either time. Drop on the main's cleaned up. Drop over here is not going to find the 5th base. Looks like the Banshee did die. Innovation is reset to 0 on the momentum. At least his 5th base is on location. Already over halfway done, so the game can still go on to a super late game. But he had trouble finishing off Dark in the last game, in Game 4, where Dark was very late to Ultralisk Cavern Chitinous Plating. So that is to say that he couldn't win a game where Dark made a big mistake. I feel like Dark hasn't really made any mistakes this game. So how is Innovation going to fare here? Hydrosen is finally added on, so not the quickest of lurkers. I mean, eventually Innovation's army is supposed to be better than Ling, Baneling, Ravager. It's just not really gotten any good engagements. Tanks are always sieging way too late. This time around, they siege up nice and quick. They're kind of a good position. I fear that is not enough of an army, though, as Dark comes in with almost his entire army is going to entirely encompass this one. Blinding Cloud on top of that. The Innovation pulls back a little bit. Nah, 2 Banelings were there. You take down a couple of Marines. But the reason Dark was no longer trying to kill that was a big attack to the top left. A couple of medevacs could mean that this is a attack that will survive, which is the good news. And actually, Innovation finding a little bit of success on both fronts. Dark was a little too quick to pull back from dealing with this, but then still a little too slow to deal with this. And Innovation's double-pronged attack has actually found a lot of success. 2 hatcheries down, a handful of drones were killed, and he's even taking some decent army supply trades. Dark mishandling this just a little bit here. And a little bit to little bit. It's a snowball effect. That's what we talk about. The drop in the main doesn't find much success. Drop of the 3rd or 4th, whatever you want to call it, might be a little bit better. Another drop to the top left. Oh, the Corrosive Biles. Gonna grab 1 medevac. Innovation on autopilot right now just unloads into a bunch of army. Not really what he wanted to do. He was trying to save this attack, and it did not work. So he doesn't save the right side, he doesn't save the left. He still, at the end of the day, did a lot of damage, all right? That turned around a little bit on him towards the end of the fights, end of the drops, but it still was a great minute before the last 30 seconds. 5th base is up and running for Innovation as well. Dark has had no room to go over on the other side of the map and try and be aggressive. He's also not really had a lot of room to start adding in those lurkers. Lurden's been done, but only just starting up. The burrow speed for the lurkers. Hydra's only just started, so lurkers not going to be available for a little while, and they won't be very powerful lurkers either. Big ball of bio trying to combat mostly Ravagers at this point. Could do so if it wasn't for that Blinding Cloud, or could try anyways. Parasitic Bomb is microed against. That is mostly Ravagers, guys. Blast cannons, then. And not very fast either. Innovation really showing his multitasking skills. I guess this is what he wanted to do last game, but just was always cut a little bit short. His fights were always a little too lackluster. But this time around, they seem to be doing the work. Dark is missplitting once again as he loses Ravagers over to the right side. He might also lose his hatchery. Another engagement on the top left, and Innovation has done it. The 3-2 against Dark to take the qualification spot for DreamHack Masters last chance tournament. GG. Well played. Dark.